I'm Michael.
Hey,
yeah,
Michael.
so good to meet you.
Great to meet you. Great to meet you.
Yeah, we actually met my freshman year of college on your book tour, the other Westmore.
What college?
I was at Wash U, then I transferred to Columbia.
Yes.
Yeah, you came, we met.
We sure did. I did a whole day of service over there.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just wanted to say, I was so impressed by you. I thought you were so charismatic and thoughtful. But now we're seeing the other Westmore. Spineless, rudderless. You vetoed the most important climate bill in Maryland. You were in the midst of a climate emergency. This is a climate emergency.
Hello, welcome back to War is Stupid, an anti-war podcast about war. I am Orli Matlow, and the gentleman you just heard in the cold open is Michael Greenberg, who I have the privilege of talking to later. You'll hear from him in just a couple of minutes. But first, I want to say why this anti-war podcast is talking about climate change. I often think about how lucky I am not to live in a war zone, and it's pure luck. Just by accident of birth, I am safe and fed and grateful for it, and try to use my privilege for good. SNAP benefits expire, so donate to your local food banks. Apparently they want money as opposed to canned beans, so donate money and let them decide how they spent it. But climate change is turning the entire world into a war zone. The fires that are caused by climate change do just as much damage, if not more so, than fires caused by bombs dropping. And I think about this viral tweet anytime anything weather-related happens, which is daily. It's from Perthshire Mags. Shout out to Perthshire Mags. They wrote, their profile picture is a cat, so I am unsure of their gender. So they wrote, climate change will manifest as a series of disasters viewed through phones with footage that gets closer and closer to where you live until you're the one filming it. And I've just been consuming the war. The wars all around the world, Gaza, Sudan, Ukraine, through my phone, and puts in perspective that it could very well get closer and closer until you're the one filming it. So climate is a war issue, and war is a climate issue. If you've seen Mad Max, it's only a matter of time before the drought causes us to war against one another. So let's try to minimize how bad it gets. As Michael says later on, we're way past the point of paper straws and recycling as a means of mitigating the vast damage that has been done. But maybe we can work together to try to get the bombs from falling, because that is carbon emissions incarnate. This is from the Costs of War project at Brown University. They write, wars and military operations contribute significantly to climate change. Military jets and vehicles consume petroleum-based fuels at an extremely high rate, and the vehicles used in the war zones produce tons of carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, hydrocarbons, and sulfur dioxide in addition to CO2. So even more so than Taylor Swift, the war machine is burning fossil fuels way more than Taylor Swift taking her private jet to get pizza. From Brown University, they add, residents of war zones and soldiers suffer many negative health consequences of war's environmental wreckage. Bombs and other munitions contain toxic substances, including heavy metals, white phosphorus, depleted uranium, and dioxin, in addition to causing horrific injuries, contaminate soil, water, and vegetation in the aftermath of fighting. Explosive weapons destroy buildings, generating debris and releasing hazardous materials such as asbestos, industrial chemicals, and fuels. Explosives also destroy water supplies and sanitation facilities, leading to pollution from sewage and solid waste. In rural areas, bombing decreases soil quality and inhibits agriculture by disrupting topography, forming craters, and altering drainage patterns. Unexploded remnants of war remaining inland injure and kill people for years after the active fighting has ended. Yes, every so often we still hear about unexploded grenades from World War I wreaking havoc on a field in Belgium. So we can only imagine what munitions from the last 100 years are capable of and will continue to be capable of long past the time the wars aren't showing up on our phones anymore. From the Costs of War projects, they say U.S. military bases in Iraq, Afghanistan, and elsewhere contaminate their surrounding environments with oil spills and other toxic chemicals. U.S. military burn pits, open-air incinerators used to burn broken-down tanks, the detritus of weapons, computers, batteries, aerosols, metals, and many other types of industrial, military, and medical debris contaminate the air, ground, water, and soil and expose soldiers and civilians to dangerous health pollutants. At times, environmental destruction is an intentional weapons of war. Ecosystems, animal and bird populations are adversely affected. If you saw the videos of people losing their homes to the wildfires in Los Angeles earlier this year, I still empathize with the people of Los Angeles, even though I'm a Toronto Blue Jays fan. Go Jays, Dodgers. You have your championship. Let Canada have one. It hasn't happened in my lifetime. But yes, how can you look at those videos of people losing everything because of wildfires and then think, yeah, this should happen to people on purpose? Imagine burning people's homes down on purpose. It's overwhelming. It makes you want to scream at somebody, which is why I'm grateful to have spoken to Michael Greenberg, who is doing screaming and getting all up in people's faces and will tell you how to get involved. My guest today is Michael Greenberg, the founder of Climate Defiance, which, do you get a lot of people being like, oh, well, your name is Greenberg, you were destined to be a climate activist?
I get a few of those. I get that sometimes. Yeah. I roll with that.
It's such a classic dad joke. I was born on Armistice Day. My birthday is 11/11, coming up soon. So I'm like, okay, I was born the day World War I ended, obviously years later, destined to be anti-war. So I am so grateful to have you on the show. Full disclosure, we know each other in person. We went to college together, which now just thinking about anything college related just bums me out way too much. When it comes up, I'm like, yeah, we were at Columbia before it was officially fascist. Back when it was merely subtly fascist. So it's always exciting to meet someone from college who, yeah, you could have had an easy, right, direct line to Goldman Sachs or McKinsey hiring right on campus. So how did you resist the urge and become a climate activist?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I'm not sure I would have made it into McKinsey or Goldman. But yes, I became an activist because I started learning about what's happening. I read books by people like Bill McKibben, started getting really freaked out, and started taking action. In college, organized some students to get arrested against Keystone, and kept at it ever since, pretty much.
Yes. So this is War is Stupid, an anti-war podcast about war. And I want to talk about ecocide. So you published a really moving, really powerful statement on Climate Defiance letterhead. Tell us about ecocide, which is a word that's new to me, unlike genocide, which, I've been hearing since Hebrew school, since kindergarten.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So ecocide refers to the purposeful destruction of nature. And yeah, we're seeing often does go hand in hand with genocide. What's happening in Gaza obviously has a huge, horrific humanitarian toll. And it also is taking a big toll on the land. Farms have been completely destroyed. Clean water has been decimated. The air has been poisoned. The ground has been poisoned. So yeah, the destruction of the environment often goes hand in hand with the destruction of communities and people's lives.
And why Defiance? So you founded Climate Defiance. It's a great word, but what does that word mean to you? Why did you choose it?
Yeah, absolutely right. We we were toying around with a few other ideas for names. We talked about hot and bothered. We talked about global warming, but ultimately we went with climate defiance because, we wanted to show that we're not just going to lay down and take it and let the fossil fuel CEOs run roughshod over our lives. We're going to stand up and fight back. So that's how the name came to be.
And what does your standing up and fighting back look like for the people who don't follow you guys just yet?
Yeah, so we go hard. We blocked the doors to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. We stopped play at the congressional baseball game. We've confronted the CEOs of Chevron, Occidental, Exxon. We've confronted Joe Manchin on many occasions. We confronted Lee Zeldin at a cancer gala that was honoring him. So,
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? There's a cancer gala. The New York Cancer Foundation was honoring Lee Zeldin at their recent benefit dinner.
For his work advocating to deny people access to healthcare, I assume?
Oh, yeah, pretty much, right. Or for causing cancer with all the chemicals that he is deregulating. Yeah, so it's pretty rich.
So you've been in these rooms. What is the most egregiously out of touch thing you've seen while infiltrating a cocktail party?
Oh, wow. I mean, right. Recently I was at an event where Wes Moore was raising funds for his campaign, and it was at an Exxon lobbyist's home in this lobbyist's kitchen, and it was just so shocking. It's 2025, and here we are in a blue state that is supposed to be leading the resistance or whatever, fighting back, making progress at the state level, since we're not making progress at the federal level, and yet the governor is having breakfast in an Exxon lobbyist's kitchen. So yeah, I went in, I confronted, I profoundly disrupted the proceedings. And it reached almost 1 million people, so I'm definitely glad I did it.
Oh, incredible. And so how do you infiltrate? What's the spycraft involved?
Oh, well, I can't give away too many secrets.
Yes.
Yes, I know some of the right people.
Excellent. Yeah, using your... that's just what everything is, whether it's getting booked on a bar show here in Brooklyn or meeting the governor of Maryland
Pretty
And
much.
so, do you have any advice for people who want to help but are bad at science? Like fully overwhelmed by the facts and figures, or just use that sense of overwhelmness to fuel your activism?
Yeah, I mean, right. Here's the thing. We already know so much of the science. I mean, obviously, there's still a lot left to know, but we understand the basics that emitting carbon is causing planetary heating, and that is causing things like coral bleaching, sea level rise, storms, desertification, etc. And as bad as it is now, it has the potential to get much, much worse. So we know the facts already, and now it's about creating the political will. And because it's too late to just use reusable water bottles and plastic straws. So now it's about creating the political will, and that means confronting the politicians who are making Earth unlivable in order to please their campaign donors.
Yeah, would you say, like, how many voters does it take to equal to have the power of one fossil fuel executive?
Well, that's the thing. It depends what the voters do. If they are just voting, that is necessary but not sufficient. But right, I mean, one person interrupting Westmore and getting 1 million views and ruining the whole breakfast, that probably matters as much to him as probably hundreds of phone calls into his office. So it's really about taking the next step. It's too late to just say, oh, I signed an online petition, I've done my good deed for the day. We need people to step up in bigger ways.
Yeah, thank you for being that person. We live in such a time where, like, is it fair to say, like, it's vibes-based politics? Like, politicians are just content creators, and by disturbing the vibe, you're disturbing the process?
Yes. Right. A lot of it is vibes and intuition, right? Because the politicians, aren't necessarily always looking at public opinion polling or whatnot, right? So a lot of it is a question of who can be the loudest. At the same time, we're also seeing that a lot of politicians are not really in touch with the vibes. Steny Hoyer, who's the mainstream of the Democratic Party, he's been in Congress for like 40 years. He was the House Majority Leader at his peak. Even just as of weeks ago, he was saying, like, the problem with Israel is that they need to do a better job explaining themselves to the world. So sometimes it's about vibes, but also some politicians are just, back to Westmore. After Biden bombed the June 27th debate, I was at an event in person with Westmore, a couple of weeks after that debate, where Westmore was saying, Biden's doing great and we have confidence in him. Sure, there was a little bump in the road, but like, we're all in. So vibes are, sometimes politicians are surprisingly bad at reading the room, even though that's kind of their job. Really what it might have been was that Westmore wanted Biden to run for re-election in 2024 so that he would lose, so that he wouldn't have a sitting vice president, Kamala, running in 2028 against him. So are they too dumb or too evil, these politicians? I'll let folks watching decide. There's on both sides.
Yeah, it's like they're thinking through everything except the shit that actually matters, like the fact that people are starving and dying and drowning. Like, it's...
Yeah.
So with everything being so overwhelming and bleak, can you recommend anyone to look up to? Anyone you've met who doesn't suck?
Oh, yes. Great question. Great question. Well, I think Zoran Mamdani is already is and is gonna be making even bigger waves soon. And he really just does what he believes and is very principled and sincere and authentic. So that's probably not the most original answer, but that's what I'm thinking of. At the same time, it's also true, politicians have a whole range of incentive structures and a lot of considerations, and they are sometimes going to let you down. So we need to, be building a movement on the outside, because we can't count on politicians to, do 100% of what we want.
And what gives you hope in addition to Mamdani?
Yes,
you're allowed to say the
question.
movement you've
in
built.
In addition to Mamdani, what gives me hope? Obviously, things are bleak, and I don't want to minimize that because it is a scary time in a lot of ways. Democracy is under attack. The planetary ecosystems are on the brink. So I definitely don't want to, engage in toxic positivity. At the same time, what gives me hope? A lot of people are stepping up in their own different ways. I think this month's Snow Kings protest, I think, drew 7 million people, which might be the largest protest in U.S. history. And, in my day-to-day work, I see a lot of people stepping up in their own ways, pushing themselves to the edge of their comfort level, whether that's engaging in an action or donating till it hurts or, volunteering their time. I see a lot of people, who aren't out to get attention and make a name for themselves. Seeing a lot of people step up in a big way.
And yeah, since I know you gotta go soon, we can just wrap things up because I know you gotta go. There's a planet to save, so how can we help? For people listening, what can we do?
Yes, absolutely. Sign up to get involved in Climate Defiance. Our website, very simple, climatedefiance.org. We need more people. We need people to throw down with us, risk arrest, take action. So it makes a big difference. We're not funded by billionaires. We're powered by everyday people.
Amazing. So thank you so much. I will let you get back to your spy craft.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, and let's stay in touch.
Thank you for listening and or watching War is Stupid, an anti-war podcast about war. Please subscribe, rate and review, tell your dads. We'll see you next time.